Hi, it's Mark Marmer from Signature Electric. So we're at something a little bit different this year. We've been away from live shows for a little while. And the auto show, we've been a few years since we went to the auto show. The auto show got canceled this year, but we're at something very interesting. This is Truck World. And we wouldn't normally come to Truck World. I didn't even know there was such a thing as Truck World. Massive operation here with giant trucks spread out over 3 big halls. Trucks have started to electrify. Something you would have thought would be a natural progression from the cars. So we're going to go on a little hunt. We're going to try to figure out where these electric trucks are, maybe talk to a few of the manufacturers, scope it out, and we'll bring you some information. So we're just here in front of the Lion Electric booth. We thought we'd start here. This is a Canadian manufacturer, and we'll see if we can get somebody to chat with us for a couple of minutes from Lion Electric. I'm here with Brian from Lion Electric, and this was sort of a natural first stop for us.
Today, we have over 550 all-electric school buses in service, and about 1.5 years ago, more 2 years ago, Lion decided to embark on the truck business. Essentially, a school bus is a Class 7 chassis. What we're standing in front of is a Class 6 chassis, but we build them from the ground up, purpose-built for all-electric, and made the decision that if we're going to build Class 7 chassis and put yellow school buses on them, we might as well build trucks. We can put the componentry where it needs to be for optimal use of the vehicle instead of trying to place it where it can fit after someone's removing other components that are tied to a diesel.
I know you had somebody else that you thought maybe could show us around the truck, because I know our viewers would be really interested in that.
We'll do that now.
Good, thanks very much, Brian. We heard a little bit about the operation of Lion Electric in general, and I said, I'd love to know a little bit more about the actual truck, and we'd love to see inside. He goes, I have to go get Eve for you. Eve will show you around the truck. So we're going to get, very nice to meet you. We're going to get a chance to step inside the cab.
The first thing you will feel is the room. I mean, you can see that it's very roomy. Usually a cab over, the engine will be right in between the 2 seats. Here we have lots of room in the cab, so we can have 3 seats. Other thing is the visibility also. It's a cab over, so you can really see in front of the cab very closely, so very easy to handle in town. The first thing they feel is, range anxiety.
100%.
So
we've been talking about this for a long time.
Exactly. So in this case, you won't feel that, because it has the display of how much mileage he left, and because we have a telemetry system, the dispatcher knows how much mileage
very good.
He has left as well. He won't send the driver to take a pickup that is too far. So everybody has the same information, and therefore they can really make sure that they can do the job with the truck. Okay, so let's see under the hood. Everything is at the end of a hose or at the end of a wire in an electric truck. So we can bring all the components that needs to be verified right here, so the pre-trip inspection can be done in a blimp, and then the driver can be on the road very quickly.
Behind me is the Freightliner booth. And we see this EMC2 truck. It's a completely electric vehicle. So I thought, somebody would maybe like to talk to me about this vehicle. It's not quite there. This is almost I'm not sure that they use the exact word, almost a concept. They're just starting to come around to it. So they're a little hesitant to talk about these vehicles. They said this EMC2 will be one, and the one just straight behind me will be another. But this is typical of how these manufacturers in the car industry and in the truck industry are moving from what they were doing in gasoline or diesel vehicles to electric, and it takes a little time. But credit to Freightliner for showing up and bringing a vehicle and showing that they're in the right direction. So I decided to stop at this particular truck. This is a shuttle vehicle for shuttling tractor trailers around inside a yard. The truck never really actually leaves the yard. And I saw this setup now a couple of times. It occurs to me that the reason we have is because it's perfect. The truck doesn't need a giant range. It never leaves the yard. It's near to charging all the time. So, and I'm presuming that there's quite a few of these around. So in terms of getting a place to get started with a company, this is probably a very perfect arrangement. We're at that Kenworth booth. Lots of trucks here. Big, well-known manufacturer. Something electric. I see it, batteries on both sides. What I've noticed here is the truck's got a 100-mile range. So again, it feels like sort of the beginning of things, where we were with electric vehicles at the beginning, with relatively low range and everything sort of coming along. I'm wondering who's going to buy a truck this big with a 100-mile range. But an interesting start. You have all these vehicles. This is the one electric, and people are showing their electric vehicles, and they're showing this sustainability piece of their business. Here we are, Peterbilt trucks, and we have a truck with some electric on it. I didn't see too much of anything else. 150-mile range. That's 50 miles more than the truck we saw just before. 3-hour recharge time. They didn't tell you what kind of wattage you need to make that happen. But again, yeah, right. I don't think we're seeing too many truck manufacturers without something electric. So this is the start. Maybe we'll have to make a trip back to Truck World at some point and keep an eye on it. The sort of the same way we're doing with our auto shows. We're here with Andy from Volvo Trucks, and this is just a new entry now for Volvo into the electric market. Is that correct?
That is correct, to a certain extent. So the VNR Electric, I mean, it's been in North America. We started production back in 2020. Okay. So now we even have the next generation VNR Electric, which will start production here this summer. So this one right here is the Phase 1 VNR Electric. Now, the difference between this one and the Phase 2 is we have better battery design. The charging capability, we've gone from 150 to 250. So
250 kilowatt.
Yes, that's right.
All right.
Which, you know, to our customers, I mean, downtime is important, right? You want to reduce that as much as possible. So up to a 15% reduction can be done just through having that 250 charging capability. With the newest generation of the VNR Electric, we can achieve up to 275 miles or 440 kilometers.
So this is a pretty good range.
It is a good range. It opens up the door to a lot of challenging routes. But again, with that regional distribution, okay, this truck actually excels in traffic, right? Every time you stop, you're essentially doing regenerative braking.
So you are getting the regen on the truck.
Yes, you are.
So this is good. This could be quite a bit, because depending on what kind of load you've got in the back, it's not just the car, right? You've got all this extra push from the load.
Up to 15% free fuel can be captured back into this energy storage system. We have a dedicated battery thermal management system, which is an active cooling system to make sure that these batteries are optimized to their highest performance levels,
right,
and it increases their longevity as well.
For sure, this is a very similar thing we see in cars.
Yes.
I looked inside the truck. It looks like almost I could figure out how to drive this vehicle.
Yeah, so that was intentional, right? This VNR Electric was built on the VNR that was introduced back in 2017. In fact, the truck over there. So it's a proven chassis, and the driver feedback of the maneuverability, the controllability of this short hood tractor arrangement is overwhelmingly positive. So why not build electric on a tractor that drivers are used to help ease their maybe anxiety or resistance to a new technology?
Yeah, for sure.
The future is very bright and exciting, especially for heavy transports.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me about this. You're well informed, you've got the right attitude, and we're looking forward to spending some time helping out with Volvo Trucks.
Enjoy the show.
Thanks. I'm here at the Mack booth. I'm with Mike from Mack Trucks, and the reason I'm excited is we have a refuse truck. We get a lot of interest in refuse trucks, and I think in my head, the combination of electric and refuse trucks makes a lot of sense. Is this something relatively new for Mack Trucks?
Yes, it came out, I believe, last year for North America.
So on a truck like this, is everything electric? Everything that's happening back here is electric as well? Or is it electric driving hydraulic? Or is there a combination? How's that happening?
On this application, it's electric driving hydraulic.
Okay.
So it depends on the body you want to get. I believe there's a manufacturer, it is electric itself. But in this application here, it's a hydraulic pump powered by the high voltage batteries.
So in my mind, this works well. The vehicle spends a lot of time idle. The route is not necessarily long. I take it this is a unique opportunity in terms of a battery vehicle. Are you finding that that's the appeal?
I think the biggest thing too is the stop and go, right? Stop and go is what this truck does all day long.
Right.
And what's cool is that when you're braking and slowing down, we get regenerative braking, which goes back into the battery. So that energy, which would normally be lost in heat through the brakes, now captured into the battery.
You've got so many stops, it's really making a big difference.
Huge, yeah.
That's interesting.
And then the other thing is, for the poor driver, typically you're beside an engine that's screaming all day long with a fan on.
For sure.
It's all gone now, right?
I guess it's a lot more comfortable in the cab as well.
Yeah,
Right?
there's
You've
no
got your
noise.
heater, air conditioning going, and it's just fine, right?
The only noise now is from the body when you're working the arms or anything like that. Besides that, there's no other noise.
That's great. Anything cool you want to tell me about this truck? I don't know.
It's got a lot of torque. It's got 4,000 foot-pounds of torque, double essentially a typical.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Well, I know even in my electric vehicle, they talked about, oh, it's got a lot of torque, it's got a lot of this, and I thought, oh, you know what, I don't really drive like that. But it's a handy thing to have when you need it, and it does make a
Well,
difference.
and it applies in this because torque is what you need to take off, right?
Right.
And with the
so
heavy,
you're dead stop with everything on, you got to move ahead 10 feet,
and
right?
that's all this thing does every day is take off from a dead stop with a heavy load. So it's just the perfect thing for it, really. So.
Great. I thank you so much for taking some
You're
time to
welcome.
look at this. So we're at the international booth. This truck caught my attention because most of the electric trucks we've seen have been sort of boxes. This has sort of a dump on it. He says they did this sort of on purpose to be able to show the different kinds of configurations that could be. Again, I think that these are relatively new to them and they're a little cautious about the way that they're communicating. But in the meantime, here's a pretty big manufacturer. They're coming to the electric game as well. Okay, so we had a pretty good day at Truck World. It was an interesting experience. I've never been here before. To some extent, I got to say, it feels, when we go to some of these places, it feels a little bit like 6 or 7 years ago going to the auto show, and there was some places electric something in the background, and they were a little hesitant to speak about it. The evolution is starting. At least if we see the trucks here, we know they got the right attitude. We saw some interesting things. I think seeing garbage trucks. I think seeing places like Lion Electric that are electric only, these are the people that will have an advantage. Anyways, hopefully you found this interesting. If you're looking for more, you can check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/signatureelectric. Check out our website, all kinds of interesting things there. We keep a sort of a list of these going, signatureelectric.ca, or give us a call, 416-490-8093. Maybe you need some help with figuring out how you're going to manage trucks at your facility.